Hi everyone, Up to Max here, and we are back with another TFT video. This one is going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing a guide, we're going to be doing a VOD review on a recent stream that I had on a challenger game that was extremely fun, a little bit too for fun, with two super big cash outs. So I won't spoil too much about what those are, but we're going to be still showing this game. There are some pretty good fundamental plays here that I've done, and also some pretty bad fundamental plays. So we'll be talking about both of those, and then also what to do, what not to do, and how to prevent doing the bad ones in your game. So as usual on your stage one, you just want to be picking up good holds. So I'm not really picking up these powders. Zyra if you have a tier, if you have Sork, but normally from this start, you're mostly looking to play some sort of AP line, especially now that we have this tier drop as well. Not looking to pick up the Zeri here unless we have a bow. So this is just going to be your standard stage one. Most of your tailoring of your game direction will come from your 2-1 augment, and because it is a Heimerdinger start on the encounter, we know that it will be a Prismatic. So as you can see here, we're kind of leaning towards the Renato reroll line right here. We have a half Nashers, we have a half Archangel, and we even get the full Archangel here. So from our augment choices, upper mobility, definitely okay. We could play into level 8 very fast and then go for the level 9 max cap. Dual purpose is pretty good if you have the tempo spot for it, but definitely a lot better if it is a gold start. And then Exalted Adventure, always a very good choice and will allow you to hit a super cash out, hopefully by 4-1 with that final lesser dupe. Now remember, with Exalted Adventure, you will have 3 2-cost champions that you can upgrade, but you only need to upgrade 2 of them. So what you want to do is you want to decide which 2 out of the 3 are the most synergistic with each other. So here we have a Zeri, Vander, and a Nocturne. Nocturne does not fit in with Zeri and Vander, and Zeri and Vander you could do the Sniper, Watcher, Reroll. Now the first mistake here, after deciding upon the item economy, I know that I have to be making Ginsu, so the rod is what I want to play around, and I'm happy slamming the other 2 components, which is going to be Redemption. However, although this is correct through item economy, our board is extremely weak, and I did not have time to scout around and see that there's another player who's essentially open and not playing any strong units, which means that I have a chance of losing my 5 loss. Now if you did have, let's say, an upgrade, let's say you have like for some reason a Vander 2 or a Zeri 2 and a Rage Blade, this is perfectly fine because you know that you'll be winning some of your rounds, but from this initial start, there's a 0% chance I'll be winning unless there is another board who is open, such as this. So this player has Ghost of Friends Pass, just looking to sack off their units, and I accidentally break my lose streak here. And then as mentioned, the rest of the lobby, it's going to be extremely tough to continue this win streak, so I will actually end up losing the next 3 rounds. Nothing I could do much about it. I'm not using my lesser dupe. I have a non-combat Prismatic, which will allow me to spike really hard once I get those 2 3-cost 2-costs, but until then I will most likely be losing to these other boards that have combat Prismatic augments, such as this one. Technically not a combat Prismatic, however having a level 6 and playing 6 units on your stage 2 board is essentially a combat augment, and you're looking to 5-streak with this. So I lose here. I have an open rod, definitely looking to try to get a bow here. I'm praying these 2 players don't take the bow, which they don't, which is great. I get the Rage Blade here also on a 3-cost, so this is definitely best case scenario. As you saw on 2-2, I'm making 20 gold. There's no point holding these other 2 units. I'm not looking to play like a strong early game board. I'm just trying to make as much money as possible so then I could do most of my rolling on level 6 and try to get that Vander 3 and that Zeri 3 as soon as possible. Because I already broke my streak, it's fine to slam the Rage Blade here. If I was on a 3 loss, then I would definitely be more wary and avoid slamming this unless I can, because I don't accidentally want to break that lose streak. But because I already broke it, it's fine to slam it, try to kill some extra units, and you will be making your Rage Blade on the Zeri anyways. Pick up a couple more Watchers here. As you saw from the team planner, we are looking to play 6 Watcher, 2 Sniper, and 3 Firelight as our end game board. This means that we're also going to be rerolling the Scar, the Kog'Maw if we can, or if we have the items for him. Who knows what comes from this Exalted Adventure. And then there will also be a little bit of a surprise later with our Prismatic on 3-2 that I don't want to spoil yet. So you can see here, the rest of these boards are just way too strong. Like I'm fighting six units from at what cost? I'm fighting 4 costs here. I don't have any upgrades. So it was definitely a mistake to slam the early game redemption and play a strong board. Definitely scout around, make sure that you will 5 lose if your board is extremely weak, or if your board is okay, it is fine to now win some, lose some, as long as you're winning more than you lose. Here I'll be getting another champion duplicator. Remember, every -1 you will be getting a lesser champion dupe, which means that by 4-1 is when you really want to be hitting your big spike, because you will have 3 champion duplicators, you will have slow rolled all of stage 3 essentially, and you will be looking to win out starting stage 4. Winning out stage 4 is also very important, because until then you are playing down an augment, a prismatic augment at that, compared to everybody else. So you've seen players that already have 4 costs, players have combat augments. It is very hard to win any round from 2-1 until 3-7, or at least until you have your 3-star 2 costs. Now here, belt overflow, definitely the more safe choice, being able to finish off your 3rd item on your main tank, and then also you can put this on your Garen as well, which is extremely good. However, thought process here, I'm losing anyway until 4-1. Prismatic pipeline will guarantee an even larger win out scenario. However, this means I am now playing down 2 prismatic augments until 4-1, and I will most likely be losing every round until then. Anger issues you can also take. This is the one composition where you can take it. You just put 3 rage blades onto your Scar and then 3 rage blades onto your backline carry as well. However, the prismatic pipeline just sounds too fun here. I get the Scar natural as well. Technically you should be rolling for at least Zeri 2 here, but because I'm playing down 2 prismatic augments, I have the impression where I'm going to be losing anyway. I'm just going to make my 50 gold and start slow rolling starting next turn. Thankfully, I fight another player who is also Prismatic Pipeline. They are still level 5 and their Ghost of Friends pass scaling, so I'm able to snag a win here. Not horrible, not great. If I was on a 5 loss, then you definitely try to lose here, but 4 loss is fine. You save a little HP here, you gain 1 gold, and you really want to be conserving some HP, because by 4-1 is when you're going to have your spike. So here you can do a little bit of rolling, right? Just slow rolling here. I even get the Scar and Scar 2 in a couple shops. Same idea. Technically you can roll, or you should be rolling for Zeri 2 here, but because I have 0 augments, I think even with Zeri 2 it's very hard for me to beat some of these double prismatic boards. As you see there, that player has at what cost and sponging. There's other players who have double combat as well, so I refrain from rolling here and digging a bit deeper. So this fight is going to be pretty close. Technically, since I have the Scar 2, my board is not that bad. I also have Rage Blade and a Last Whisper, and pretty decent setup, right? For Watcher, I have pretty good Scar items, I have best in slot Zeri items, and I think actually with a Zeri 2, I potentially could have won this round. But this is all in hindsight. There are a couple other matchups where it would not have been close at all, so I decided to keep that extra gold and then just begin slow rolling here. Now, the 3rd best item on Zeri here after Rage Blade and Last Whisper is definitely going to be the Infinity Edge, allowing her ability to crit. But as you see here, no gloves and no swords, so you just want to be going for a high cost unit that has some sort of possible unit you can use. I'm not even sure why players are pinging that there, but I just take my 4th Scar. The bow is okay, it's not great. You see a little bit later it gets a little bit awkward, but I think the rest of the components are not that good anyway, and this gives me a Scar. If it did not have a Scar, I definitely would not have taken a bow and most likely just gone for a 3rd tank item. So I continue slow rolling here on 50 gold. I now get my Vander pair, which is pretty good. If you look at the Vanders and the Zeris, technically I'm 4 out of 18 copies, so I'm still pretty far away. A little bit concerning here. Maddie 2 is much better than the Kog'Maw 1 in terms of killing units, so if I lose here, then I will just be selling Adarius. Doing a little scouting, you want to make sure that you're positioned as far away from the enemy unit as you can with these snipers. As you can see here, these sort of boards with double prismatic combat, you have no chance of winning. So that's why I definitely opted to just make my econ instead. But as I was saying, you want to position as far away as you can in order to optimize your sniper value and get as much bonus max damage as you can. Okay, so we're now at 46 HP. We are technically sacking one more round, and then on 4-1, we're going to be trying to hit all of our units. Now, this is still a little bit suspicious because we are 4 out of 18 copies, 2 Zeris, and 2 Vanders. However, we at least have 4 scars, and our spot is okay. Our spot is okay right now. Definitely hoping for a little bit of a high roll. I decided to dig a little bit deeper here. If you just like do the math and kind of like look at the numbers, I only lose 1 gold here, and I was sitting on some pretty important pairs, and at this point I definitely want to conserve a little bit more HP because I took a pretty tough loss the round before. So I dig to 40. If I lose here, I'll sell the Darius and then still be able to make 40 gold. This board is actually pretty weak, so I'm able to snag a win here. Sorry, spoilers, but this board essentially has no damage to kill the Scar, so this is pretty good. If you think about it, I have no prismatic augments, and I'm able to at least snag 2 wins on stage 3 with this board. So this helps me out a lot. A very, very big win. Make 40 gold, 46 HP, a little bit behind in terms of the copies of my units for Exalted Adventure. However, I will be getting some sort of boost from the prismatic pipeline here. I'm hoping it's a lot of gold, which will allow me to hit my units a little bit easier here. Something else that is also helping me is the other player is rerolling Renata, and that means that they are taking a lot of 2 costs out of the pool as well. So, and it's none of my 2 costs. So the more players reroll in your lobby, the easier it is for you to hit your own reroll. And here I was a little bit worried. I thought it was just going to be 1 support anvil, but instead I get an insane influx of gold. I'm able to roll here on level 6 for most of my units. I have 3 lesser champion dupes, and my items are a little bit tough because I know that this bow does not go anywhere. Okay, so I stop at 50 gold. I know if I continue to dig, I will not hit on this turn. Virtue of the Martyr is extremely good in stall compositions here. I know I have 2 swords, so I make the Last Whisper, or I make the Death Blade, and I have extra items onto this Scar. If I have more time, I definitely scout around, see if the lobby is more AP heavy or if it is more AD heavy. In this case, I had thought it was more AD heavy. Also, it helps me out with this current round, so I make the Stone Plate. However, Declaw is also still a very, very good item on the Scar. So definitely a close fight here. As you can now see, I have 6 Zeris and I have 5 Vanders. I also have 3 lesser champion dupes. I'm also able to like squeeze out this round here, which is extremely important. I go for a combat augment here on 4-2 if I can, and then I send it to 0 gold if needed to hit my 2 3-star 2 cost units. Mana Flow is useless here. I already have a support item, and Noble Sacrifice allows my frontline to be a lot tankier. Now I only need 3 more copies within these 2 units, and then I'm able to use my triple Nico. So I'm able to hit here 1 more unit and I'm good to go. So I'm still rolling, and I even hit both here. Now I could save one of my lesser dupes for my Scar. Here's the Cashout, and it is a Radiant GS and a Radiant Warmogs. So although I really want to get these onto both my main carries, I only have 1 remover, plus the Radiant Warmogs is extremely good on the Garen, being able to give more HP over to the Scar and also this 3-star Vander. So I opt to level, put the Radiant Warmogs onto the Garen, and then here the Rage Blade definitely needs to go on the Zeri, and so does the Death Blade. This cloak later could be a potential even shroud, so I actually opt to reforge the Last Whisper, hopefully into some sort of frontline item. I end up getting a blue buff, not the worst. It's a 2-star Kog'Maw with infinite frontline. So here now I'm in a very good spot. 3-star Zeri, 3-star Vander. I have a lot of Scar copies, and I know I will be getting another lesser champion dupe on 5-1. So this is a very clear example of a win out type of board. You sack your early game in order to get these super large cash outs. Even the noble sacrifice is helping me out a lot. Don't forget that I have a virtue of the martyr as well from my prismatic pipeline from the 3/7 cash out. So my board has healing, it has extra resistances, insane amount of stall, a radiant warmox for the front line, and a Ginsu backline. So this spot is looking very good. I definitely do not have to roll anymore. I'm actually looking to finish off this scar relatively quick, at least at the start of stage 5, and then level 4 the stairs to fit in 6 Watcher. One thing to note regarding your Sunfire Cave is you really want to make sure that your Sunfire is on the same side as you damage. This is kind of the same case as any even shrouds or any sparks. You just need to make sure that the units being affected by these frontline aura is the same units that are being attacked by your backline carries. So as you can see here, we're definitely winning a lot of these rounds on stage 4, even beating players who are level 8 0 gold. The double cash out is just extremely strong here, and here we're looking either for an even shroud or we're looking for some sort of item to finish off for the Kog'Maw. So I end up opting for the Echo, because 3 Firelights is actually pretty good. Until you actually hit a level 8, you can't fit in 6 Watcher, and you're kind of stuck at this like 5 Watcher intermediary stage. So taking the Echo here is pretty okay. You could have also definitely have gone the Even Shroud on the Garen. I think Even Shroud in hindsight would have been actually a little bit better because I lost my Shred, or I lost my Sunder. But 3 Firelight is definitely fine as well. You have a 3-star Zeri with a radiant item, and you have a super juiced up Scar as well. Still in a very good spot, just sitting here. I end up making the Adaptive Helm onto the Vander. The reason why I did not make it onto the Garen is I really want to save the Garen slots for any HP item to really boost up the HP of the adjacent units. And this is, by the way, the other player who had Prismatic Pipeline. So as you see here, they got a Blighting Jewel, which is extremely good on the Morgana, as it will essentially reduce all of the enemy units at magic resist to 0. As you see here, my Zeri got tagged, and even with the Firelight, she is taking an insane amount of damage because she has no innate Omnivamp. So super close fight, and you would think Garen to win, however he is affected by the Morgana, and if I show the damage charts here, I think the Morgana does over 10,000 damage with this Blighting Jewel. So that's definitely like not an ideal loss. However, I know I will not be losing to any other board, and that was just an Anomaly. Pardon the pun. Here I'm looking for either a Scar or a Zeri backline one here. If I remember this correctly, I actually make a little bit of a little of an oopsie, but it will be okay. Headhunter, I was debating. The more attack speed, the better. However, I kind of opted against it. I think there were better options, so I reroll this. And Bully is also an acceptable one. However, I already have a Radiant GS and I am a Sniper. Hypervelocity in hindsight sounds extremely good. I thought it would work from like her third ability, like proc. However, I guess that just counts as auto attack, so that looks a little bit silly there. I end up settling on Attacks Expert. The more AD, the better, and I just really need just damage here because I already have such a strong frontline. I choose to reforge this again, and it's quite funny. I went from Last Whisper to Blue Buff back to Last Whisper, and this is because I wanted to reforge the bow. The bow doesn't go anywhere here. I don't need a Shiv. I don't need I do need Last Whisper, but I end up getting the Last Whisper anyway. But Last Whisper is not an ideal item here because it's really hard to spread. Like the Kog'Maw does not make good spread of the actual Last Whisper, so the bow does not go anywhere, and I just want more frontline items as I have only one item on this Vander and only one item on this Garen. So the plan here is going to be on 5-1, roll it back down on level 7, finish off the Scar. Remember, the Scar is holding 3 items, so it's extremely important to finish off and 3-star him. And then after you 3-star the Scar, you want to slowly start going up. On level 8, you could take out the Echo briefly and play 6 Watcher, and then on level 9, you could put the Echo back in for your 3 Firelights, 6 Watcher, and this will be a very good win. Here I have a natural Scar. Remember, you get a lesser champion duplicator every -1. So here I'm able to level, fit in 6 Watcher. I pop this anvil. Couple options here. You could either go adaptive, you go QSS, you could go Spark. Spark's not that good, or you could go sword, which is also not that good. So if I recall correctly, I believe I make a Ginsu's Rageblade because I don't want to be making a second adaptive, and also like a Kog'Maw with Infinite Frontline and a Rageblade I believe is just better than another adaptive on a unit that already has it. And as you can see, the two differences between these boards, now my units have 6 Watcher in and insane amount of durability. My upcoming items, I really want to get more HP onto this Garen, or at least get a better tank item onto this Scar and move the Redemption over to the Garen. Redemption is still a rather good item onto the Scar. However, because of Firelight, most of the time he ends up jumping to the enemy backline, or at least isolated, and he is not able to spread the Redemption to adjacent ally units. So I want to move the Redemption over to the Garen, or even the Sunfire Cape, anything with max HP over, and this way I'm able to get more HP on adjacent units, and also Sunfire / Redemption the local area where my units are attacking. Regardless, my spot is looking extremely good here. Even though I am low HP, I have not really been losing any rounds, and I am actually 3rd place in terms of HP right now. This is a very, very scary Mordekaiser, as I was checking and scouting around, trying to decide whether or not the same side is better or opposite side. The thing with Zeri though is because of Firelight, she ends up dashing away and retargeting, so it is pretty difficult to position to really single down a target with this current setup. You might be wondering why I'm positioning like this. So Virtue of the Martyr, you definitely want it to die. You don't want it to die right away at like 0 seconds. However, you don't want it to die too late into the fight. So Amu needs to be getting hit first. The other thing is I have Noble Sacrifice, and this Vander has some resistances. Plus Vander, because of the damage reduction, you really want to be letting him get hit first and taking the brunt of the damage so he can reduce as much as it can with the DR. And then also because he has resistances, I have Noble Sacrifice, which is why I am not frontlining the Vladimir. This way Vladimir has a higher chance of casting, and also if the Vander is able to die, the Noble Sacrifice value will be a lot larger. So we are fighting the Ronaldo player again, but now our board is much, much stronger. We have a 3-star Scar, we have 6 Watcher in, and the difference is my Zeri did not get tagged by the Morgana right away, so it is a much cleaner win for us. Going into this carousel here, we are looking for another tank item. We have the Even Shroud, we have the Declaw. Now that we have the Last Whisper, it's not as incentivized to make the Even Shroud. Like, you still are, because the Last Whisper proc is definitely very tough. However, I opt for the Declaw. The reason being is I scouted around and checked out what are my hardest matchups. Well, there's an AP player here with a Prismatic Pipeline Cashout. There is a Mordekaiser player who has an Anomaly. There is a Silco player as well, and I am not too worried about the Emissary player if he is still alive. So this being said, I want to get the Declaw onto the Scar, as Scar is my main tank. Vander and Garen are kind of more secondary and tertiary tanks, but Scar is definitely my main one. So I move the Redemption over, and then I put the resistance items onto the Scar. They hit the Mordekaiser too, and I can immediately tell that that is going to be my toughest matchup. I'm still not rolling here because there's nothing to roll for, just slowly going level 9, and then I want to fit in this 3 Firelight. So regarding positioning here, you want to make sure you are far away from the Silco. because you are snipers. If you are a front-loaded composition, such as like a Corki or Emissary, you definitely want to make sure you are on the same side as the Silco. But because of this, and I have AoE, it's totally fine to be on the opposite side. And I think just through stats check, my board is just much too strong with this double cash out here. The Ronaldo player goes bot 4. I'm fighting the Mordekaiser next, so kind of same thing as I was discussing. Same side the Mordekaiser versus opposite side the Mordekaiser. If you're opposite side, not only does your sniper units not have the potential to get pulled in, but they will also have the sniper value and being able to do more damage. However, with the Mordekaiser, you also want to be targeting it first and killing it, as that is the main source of damage. One thing you note here is, oh well, first off, this was a little bit of an experiment round just to see if opposite side would work. And then also a Caitlyn is much better than the Kog'Maw here because she is a much better spreader of the Last Whisper. However, Caitlyn is a horrible holder of the Ginsu's Rage Blade because of how slow she attacks once her ultimate gets into play. So as you can see here, very tough. Very tough to kill the Mordekaiser from the opposite side. So after this experimental round is over, next time I will try to position on the same side and target the Mordekaiser first, despite the Zeri dash away with Firelight. A Mumutu huge spike here is very good, being able to get the 6 Watcher buff and also being able to survive longer. Going to be leveling to 6 here on the next round, use my lesser dupe on a 3 cost unit for 3 extra gold, and then look for another tank item for my Garen. One thing to note is I still don't have Garen 2, I'm waiting for some of these players to die. I rolled down, I believe, to maybe 10 gold here, but I think the player in 4th place is holding 3 Garens, so it will be a little bit tougher to hit. But this Garen 2 upgrade is actually huge because of the HP and the more HP it will give over. So here I make a declaw and then I put it onto the Garen. This Emissary player I'm not too worried about. They just don't have enough damage to kill through my front line before my units in the back are able to scale. So here I'm just hoping that the 4th player, the Silco player, dies in game and I'm able to hit my Garen 2. That will increase my frontline a lot and help me stand a much better chance against this Mordekaiser player. Alright, so they are dead, perfect, lethal, almost. So now the Garens are back in the pool, and as you can see here, hit the Garen 2. Garen 2 with 6 Watcher, Warmog's Pride, Declaw, and a Redemption increase the value of my frontline a lot. Remember here you have Noble Sacrifice. Also, you'd rather your Watchers get hit first, so there you don't want to be frontlining your Echo. He will most likely only be casting once anyway. However, at least he will be casting once rather than just dying right away. As you saw from the experimental round, the opposite side of the Mordekaiser yielded to be less than ideal. So this time we will be positioning on the same side. Remember, having your Sunfire hitting the units that you are attacking, and then also this time I'm putting my tanks right in front of the Mordekaiser. Even get a little bit lucky, the Vander steps a little bit to the left, so then the Mordekaiser is not AoEing the rest of my board. Is only the Mordekaiser player who is left alive. Here I'm not rolling for anything else essentially except for a Caitlyn. So here, if you really want, you can be looking to deny. So taking a look at the enemy board and seeing if there's anything that you can hold to prevent them from hitting. So here, I believe I'm going to try the same side again. However, they're starting to move the Mordekaiser, so I want to follow the same side, so then I'm able to hit the Mordekaiser first. So that is exactly what I do here. After killing the Rel and the Leona one, I'm able to move on to the Mordekaiser, and the Mordekaiser is being hit by my Sunfire Cape of this Scar as well. So pretty decent positioning. I'd be rather surprised if like my board was able to die here. And remember, my Garen is actually probably about the same level of tankiness as my Scar now, just because of the Radiant item and setup that he has. So the player is now on 1 life. They are not really looking for any crazy item here, maybe like a Conqueror spat. So I think I take, I don't remember what I take here, but you could take the Caitlyn pair. You could also just take a Hodge for the crit. They end up getting a Victor, which is very bad for me because I'm a scaling composition with a Rage Blade. So being able to disrupt that with the Victor means that this will now be a much tougher matchup. In regards to the Hodge, I think I put it on the Echo because of 3 Firelights, Noble Sacrifice, and also it does not do that much on the Caitlyn. One thing to note though is if I had the Caitlyn too, you definitely would have just put it on the Caitlyn for the stats. One look over, I see they now have a Death's Defiance. Trying to figure out where that came from. It's from the Conqueror Cashout. And they even moved the Mordekaiser onto the opposite side, so I already know that this fight is going to be much closer. The one good news is that my Zeri is getting maximum sniper's value. The bad news is they have Victor and it is extremely tough to kill this Mordekaiser from the side. However, my Scar is able to smurf at the end, able to get that final kill and then get that first place. So very fun game. We essentially stacked all the rounds into 4-1. Then we had a super cash out with Prismatic Pipeline and the Exalted Venture, being able to win out there with a lot of Radiant items, a support anvil, and also infinite gold. Super fun game. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoy these types of VODs where you get to see the thought process behind these challenger games, or if you prefer the guides as well. I will most likely be doing both. So that's it for today. Have a great night, and I'll see you later.